Hello everyone and welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, and today we've got 4 great decks for you, including the runner-up and winner of a tournament that happened yesterday during the day. We also have a great deck from the Fudge. The Great Fudge has an awesome deck that he cracked the top 20 with, and we've got what is thus far the best Nightmare deck from the person who won the first Golden Gauntlet. We also have some fairly major announcements throughout the video, so let's get started with the runner-up to yesterday's Tournament of Power. This was a Juneteenth celebration tournament that our friend Doug Pye came in second place using this Loki deck. Each character was assigned a black African character that they had to play with. All the creators were black or African American, and thus M'Baku was assigned to Doug Pye, so here it is in this deck. M'Baku is actually kind of surprisingly good with Merlin, which is how Doug Pye chose to go about this. The logic being, you want M'Baku in the deck at the end of the game, right? Merlin is an excellent way to ensure that M'Baku ends up in the deck at the end of the game for that extra power. Obviously, that's not like amazing and incredible, but it is a nice way to get some extra power on the board and basically give yourself an extra Wiccan. Outside of that, this list is sort of built around the abuse of Loki and Merlin as RNG engines. We'll talk more about that as we go forward. But first, if you want to see our friend Doug Pye stream, check out twitch.tv/DougPye. One of the cooler Marvel Snap streamers around, plays a lot of really fun decks, really competitively, and absolutely excellent player. This deck needs Loki, Merlin, Surge, and Nico. Cull can be any big four. I'm thinking Galacta, Crossbones, not Carter, wrong captain, Captain Marvel. Any captain along those lines would be fine. Alioth can be Hulkling or Magneto, although Alioth is the best 6 here. Before we go to talking about card by card, we release a video every day here on this channel, right? So tomorrow's video, the morning video, will be on Comic Book Click. That'll be linked later this video. Comic Book Click, CLIQUE. That is going to be our Dormammu video, and that's going to be our second PAX code giveaway right there on that channel. So I just want to let you know to make sure to keep your eyes there if you're looking to win that. On this channel, we're going to have a Sanctum Showdown video coming at the launch of the new mode, exactly 3 p.m. Eastern. As soon as the new mode launches at Daily Reset, we're going to have that Sanctum Showdown video on this channel. But that's going to be at 3 p.m. So if you want the morning video, if you want the breakdown of Dormammu, that's going to be, and I've got some really cool decks for you, that's going to be on the Comic Book Click channel and come with a PAX code. All right, let's talk about this deck. I will remind you of that a couple more times in this video to make sure we get it through our heads and try and remember so we can all head over there. Okay, so the hood is really nice here. The hood is sort of the same thing as M'Baku here, where it's really good with Merlin. You can use it to get 2 extra energy, or you can turn it into a 2-drop. Nico is necessary here as your backup way to get rid of the hood. You don't really want to sit there with a -3 on your side of the board, and Nico is your backup plan to seeing Merlin in order to make sure that is a thing you can do. This is, more than anything else though, a Loki deck. What you're really trying to do is play Loki relatively early, use Quinjet and then your control cards after Loki in order to win you the game. Loki is still extremely strong, especially in tournament settings. We saw at the most recent Golden Gauntlet that Loki was one of the finalist decks. Most people in tournaments play generally good stuff decks, which Loki is extremely strong against. From there, we talked about M'Baku. M'Baku is just required here, can be sort of any 1-drop you like. You could even run a sort of like an extra 3-drop in that spot, a Gladiator or whatever, since you won't be required to play M'Baku. But hey, M'Baku is super fun, and if you want to play him, feel free. This is just one way to go about making that a thing, making that happen. So Merlin can either turn M'Baku into 2-drop or shove it back in the deck so it will jump back out. From there, we go to Nico. Nico has lots of good targets here, turning the Hood, Loki, Zabu, any of these cards into demons or using them to draw cards, M'Baku, etc. is an extraordinarily powerful thing to do. Nico is incredibly strong here. Don't be afraid to copy demons either with Nico. Sometimes she's location control in a pinch. She's just one of the best utility toolboxes in the game. Either the best or the second best 1-drop in Marvel Snap. Quinjet pairs specifically with Loki. If you have those 2 cards together, the whole rest of your game, unless they have Mobius, is at -2 cost. That's obviously wildly and incredibly powerful. That means you can have insanely explosive last turns, where you just play a ton of extremely powerful cards of the opponents. That's wildly good. If you have both of them together, you should strongly consider snapping. Zabu gives you the cheaper Shang, Enchantress, and Cull. Surge is doing the same thing. You're basically trying to end the game by either playing Alioth or 2 of Shang, Enchantress, and Cull. Zabu and Surge give you the opportunity to do that, which is obviously very effective. Merlin is here. So once you've used that Shang, that Enchantress, they're no longer useful cards, let alone the things like the Hood or M'Baku or Zabu. which once they're used, they're not very good. Merlin gives you something to do with them. Turning Shang or Enchantress into a 5-drop is usually an extremely powerful play that does carry some risk, but also has major upside. Obviously, being able to change locations is very, very strong, giving Merlin some really good stats in the process, and the extra energy can be insanely strong toward the end of the game. It basically gives you a mini Wiccan turn. Shang and Enchantress are obviously the control cards of the list. Again, if people are playing good stuff, that usually means ongoing or big cards. Shang and Enchantress handle that. Cull gives you a little bit of beef on your side of the board. You're running 5 1-drops here. Sorry, 6 1-drops here. And so Cull Obsidian is just good stats. And then, of course, Alioth is the way to shut down opponents at the end of the game. So, again, Loki and Merlin are sort of our snap conditions here, but we're going to need to wait to see what we draw. As soon as we see what we can do with them, we are considering snapping. Turn 1, Loki or Zabu. If we know what our opponent's playing, we might want a Loki. Zabu is a just good safe play if all the 4s are in the deck. Hood, if Merlin, is perfectly fine. Quinjet is for Loki games only. I mean, obviously, some locations will make it important too, but generally for Loki games only. Turn 2, Merlin over Surge. Turn 3 is fairly often going to be Surge and one of the cards you get from Merlin, but you can also drop a Cull Obsidian here. You usually don't want a Shang or Enchantress, so don't go too crazy, but that's the general goal. So, turn 3, if you can play that Cull, feel free. If not, Toothless 1 is good. Turn 4, we're looking at control cards Cull, or we could even go some cheaper combinations of stuff. Remember, we have 1,000 ones that we can get out across the game. Turn 5 is the same as 3, but we really want to get a control card out here if possible. Thus, we can change it into a better card with Merlin. We end the game with either Alioth or Shang Enchantress and a Cull Obsidian if we didn't play Loki, and either one of those should be incredibly powerful and give you a likelihood of winning the game. This one's a really, really cool, smaller control deck. I don't think this is one of the better decks in the game, but if you are inclined to play a really, really cerebral game where you're sort of outplaying and outthinking your opponent, this one's for you. Props to Doug Pipe for reaching the finals of this really cool tournament with this deck. Before we get to the winning deck, please hit that sub button. We bring you 7 days a week of Marvel Snap videos here on the channel. This week, I think we're going to have either 9 or 10 videos. We cover Marvel Snap more thoroughly and fully than anyone. If you want the best content with the best decks, the most consistently, this is where to go. Ask anyone in the community. We're highly respected. We're highly trusted for a reason. Hit that sub button. We are also giving away a Merlin if freaking humanly possible this week. All you have to do is sub, like, and comment. I'm trying to figure out how to give it away. I'm going to ask you more about that later because there is no shop with friends in the shop right now and it's driving us a little crazy, but we'd like to figure out how to give away a Merlin to our audience. So make sure you sub, like, and comment. Your comment will enter you to win that Merlin. Next up, we got the winning deck. 2 18s wins with his Surfer list. The card assigned here was Ironheart. Ironheart's really a good shout, in particular with Shaw. I really like that idea. We've got Forge, Surge, and Ironheart, along with Galacta and Gwenpool, which can all make Shaw and Brood really, really huge threats. Very, very cool idea. Happy to see it. With Rogue to handle any ongoing nonsense that you end up in trouble with. Rogue and Red Guardian, really good stuff. We'll talk about more card by card shortly. So you can find Two Ties at youtube.com/@2.18ZZ. Sorry, Two Ties. 2 18s. Two Ties is a totally different person. 2 18s at youtube.com/@2.18ZZ. Check it out. And if you want to watch the tournament, you can watch the whole tournament on video on demand on our friend Super Tech God's channel, twitch.tv/Super Tech God. This deck needs Galacta, Gwenpool, and Surge. Shaw can be Carter. All right, so we are once more trying to use Zabu and Surge to get 4s out early. That's what Zabu is trying to do here. We want Galacta or Gwenpool on turn 3 very badly. We've got 3 ways to do that. We got Zabu, Psylocke, and Surge. That's why they're on the list. It's fairly simple. Surge has the backup use that she often has in Surfer lists, where you could end up with like a Brood Ironheart turn 5. That is a totally viable thing to do with Surge in the deck. Forge is here to buff either Shaw or Brood. You're not really going to buff anything else because the buff is tripled on Brood and doubled on Shaw, and that's what you're trying to pull off here. Ironheart is really, really good with a Shaw on the board. It's also just generally a 3/6 is perfectly fine power. We treat it like it's not that good, but hey, a 3/6 is just decent. Brood is the big power card in Surfer decks, as it always is. It is every buff it gets is tripled, while Shaw adds +2 to every buff he gets. Those are your 2 power cards in the list. Our 2 control pieces, no Juggernaut here. We're going Rogue and Red Guardian, saying I'm not going to deal with all the ongoing stuff everywhere. If you're playing Iron Man, I've got an answer for that. If you're playing a Cull, if you're doing any of those cards, I've got an answer. Surfer buffs a smaller amount of this deck than usual. Really, really great for buffing Brood and Shaw, but otherwise we're trying to use Galactic and Gwenpool more often than not. Galactic and Gwenpool being huge buffs that are amplified, again, extra on both Shaw and Brood. You really, really do want those cards on turn 3. This is our power on champion. Turn 1 Zabu, turn 2 Surge or Psylocke for a 4-drop. Turn 3 Galactic or Gwenpool if we can, and now we're snapping over Shaw or Reguardian. Turn 4 is the same basic thing as 3. Turn 5 Brood, Shaw, Reguardian, Rogue. Sometimes that can be our Ironheart plus Forge. Sometimes that'll be 2 3s if Surge let us. Turn 6 is a 3 from turn 5 and Silver Surfer, and then we should be able to win, because this one puts out a lot of points and is just disruptive enough to various decks to really make those points count. Decks like Bounce, Move, and Negative will often just go straight over the top of these, but in a mid-range game, Surfer is very often still, to this day, king. Hey, if you are missing Marvel Snap tournaments, there is a tournament happening this coming weekend, June 28th and 29th. It is the Tournament of Pride. It's our friend Gregor2424 is running it. You can register just by hitting the QR code. You don't have to be a member of the LGBT community to participate as long as you're an ally. Please feel free to get some great Marvel Snap tournament play in. Details are on the Power on Discord, but do use that QR code if you're interested in this tournament. I know people are always looking for more Marvel Snap tournaments, and here's another one for everyone. Next up, we've got Nightmare. This is our last chance review for Nightmare. Nightmare is a 3/-1. On reveal, replace the text of each card in your hand with the text of a random card of the same cost. And I thought Nightmare was going to be way better than he is. I think he's a very good card. One of his decks is one of the top decks in Marvel Snap. We're going to look at that momentarily. But as of right now, I don't think Nightmare is a required card for really anything. He's a good card. If you liked playing Surtur decks, if you like playing old Sauron decks, then get Nightmare and he's going to be great. But that's really his home, and he's pretty good in Black Knight, but not like a requirement. So he's a pretty good card. And if you love Agatha, please, he's like the best Agatha card ever. But generally speaking, you probably don't need this card unless like one of those categories describes you. If one of those categories describes you, run, don't walk. But I don't think he's going to be so meta that we're forced to play him, and thus, a -1 stat stick is -1 stats are really, really bad. Right, the best Nightmare list by the stats is this one. It is running a lot more ones than I thought. A lot of ones are just becoming a meta thing to do. And then it's running Misery, and we'll talk about Misery's use. I think Misery is kind of brilliant here. Unsurprisingly, this deck was created by the great Derek. Derek, the winner of the first Golden Gauntlet tournament, and current number 2 player on the Infinite Leaderboard, multiple time number 1 player, etc., etc. This deck needs Merlin, Misery, Nightmare, and Nico. Starbrand and Cull can be Typhoid Mary or Crossbones. Alright, so the hood is, you need Merlin to really want the hood in this list, although Misery works as well. Merlin and Misery are your 2 ways to get rid of the hood itself. You can either turn it into a 2-drop or use it to get extra energy with Merlin, or you can use it to get an extra demon with Misery. Demons are such great stats that this is often worth doing. Be wary, of course, if you played hood early and then you want to play Nightmare on 3, Misery will no longer be Misery unless you top deck it later. Misery Hood is therefore not a one you really want to play on one unless you're immediately going into Merlin. From there, we have Nico. Nico is a backup way to take care of the hood. It's also got some decent chances to destroy stuff. In particular, turning Nightmare into a demon or using it to draw cards is insanely strong. Sauron does not have a million targets here, but it is worth it, even if only for the 3 targets, 2 big targets, 1 smaller target. Starbrand, Red Skull, and Lizard are cards you're perfectly happy to hit with Sauron. And Ebony Maw, excuse me. I always forget Ebony Maw. Anyway, so 4. Ebony Maw, Red Skull, and Starbrand are all very big hits. Lizard, sort of a whatever hit. If you'll take it, right, it's not bad to just have a 2/6, but the others are what you're really aiming for here with Sauron. Plus, Sauron, much like Hood, Nico, Zero, and not sort of Maw, are 1-drops for your Cull Obsidian to be played. Zero is your backup Sauron slash Nightmare. You don't want to take the negative from Starbrand, or Red Skull, or Maw. Zero lets you not have to. Having Maw 1/7 is huge. It's either zeroed, Sauron, or hit win by Nightmare, and now all of a sudden you just have this incredible card. Merlin gives you some extra things to do with your cards in this deck. It can get rid of your hoods. It can turn your cards with negative abilities. In particular, Nightmare's a 3/1 into better cards, or use them to give you extra energy. All of which is incredibly useful, incredibly powerful. Merlin and Nightmare go way better together than I expected them to. Blizzard's a 2/6, that's pretty big. Nightmare is incredibly strong. It changes all the cards in your hand, which is very nice. You're usually going to get really good things. You do have a potential reroll from Misery. That's not really what you're trying to do here. If you top deck Misery the turn after Nightmare, you're happy to reroll Nightmare and get rid of your Hood, but what you're really trying to do is use Merlin on that Nightmare. Turn it either into a 4-drop or use it to get extra energy. Either one of those is totally fine. Starbrand, 310, you don't usually want to play it with its negative ability, but again, 310 is so good. Misery, 4-8, you do want Misery's ability for Hood and to get rid of Nightmare, but there's only so much control you have over that. Cull Obsidian, you have 5 1s here, so you have plenty of ways to play Cull Obsidian, while he's also just a 10 power big old card. You love to see it. Another good target for the Nightmare. And Red Skull at 514 is the biggest 5 in the game, the biggest generic, like no extra buffs 5 in the game, especially when hit by Nightmare or something else. This one currently is the highest win rate version of a Nightmare deck. Not a huge sample size, but pretty good. A 62% win rate in 100 games in the top 10% of Infinite. Turn 1, we want Sauron over Hood. Turn 2, Merlin is way better than the Zard. 0 for Maw or Starbrand is fine here too. Turn 3, Nightmare is very often a snap. Hood can be a Sauron can be a snap if everything important is in the deck too. Over earlier plays, Starbrand and a 1. That should be the Transformer Energy spell if we're going to play, if we played Nightmare the turn previously, or we can play Cull Obsidian here. Turn 5, Red Skull, or 3 plus Lizard. If we got that Starbrand thing going, Starbrand and Lizard is usually pretty good here if we played Cull on 4. Turn 6, Cull and Starbrand can be played together reasonably often, thanks to our extra energy spells. We can also play just one of them, and 1s or Lizard, Demons, Ebony Maw, Merlin spells, combo off. This is, again, if you feel like you must play this list, if you have Starbrand, if you have all these high series cards, go get Nightmare. You're gonna have a really good time with this list. If not, don't feel like you're actually forced to get this card. It has its home. We know its home. Its home looks something like this in various forms. There's some versions that run Agatha. There's an occasional Black Knight deck that runs Infinite. These are good uses for Nightmare, but none of them are like, oh my god, I must have the cards. This is the best deck in the meta. With the one caveat, I think Nightmare is going to be way better in tournaments than he is in ladder. Nightmare tells your opponent one thing that's powerful in tournaments that you probably don't have tech cards, right? The other thing Nightmare does is you can snap on it because you don't know, your opponent can't know what you're going to get. Let's say Red Skull becomes Iron Man, right? They don't know that that's going to happen, and so your snap on Nightmare carries a bunch of extra power, and it makes it much harder for the opponent to stay and actually do math, which good opponents do constantly. So Nightmare does have that extra potential tournament gravitas, but I don't expect it to be a long-term thing. Next up, we've got twitch.tv/PulseGlazer, where you can find me streaming. I'm unlikely, not impossible, but unlikely to be streaming tonight. I should be streaming some Dormammu tomorrow night. All right, our season pass question is a Google Play / Apple code an okay way to send season pass money, i.e. I'll send you the $10 on either Google Play or Apple ID, and then you can just get the Merlin. Does that seem like a good deal? My concern is I don't really want to like send Merlins to send $10 to people at random for people who don't have Merlin, and that kind of annoys me. What do you think? Is this an okay way? Would you rather I just give away another PAX code? We are giving away another PAX code, however, on Comic Book Click. Remember, tomorrow morning, Comic Book Click, for our Dormammu big guide video. Next up, we've got Fudge with Ball is Life. This is his Cannibal Mercury list. Cannibal Mercury has fallen a little bit out of favor. The win rate on most of these decks sort of tanked. Fudge decks, however, never succeed by win rate. They succeed by cube rate. They succeed by snapping and retreating effectively, and this is a list that should be able to win a lot of really big cubes and retreat for a lot of really small cubes. You love to see it. Alright, so you can find Fudge at twitch.tv/elephantfudge. This deck needs Cannibal, Mercury, Surge, Hope, and Galacta. Bob can be Nightcrawler, Luna can be Jennifer Kale, Iron Page can be Fenders, Kate, or Merlin. So Kitty is here for Hope. It gives you an extra way to get energy for Hope. It's also decent as an extra way to get energy for Galacta. Hydra Bob as a 1/4 is just good stats, really good on Hope, and can be snapped to get off Hope or get into location as needed. Mercury, not only a mover, incredible Cannibal, and really good into the meta right now as more and more people are playing things like Werewolf and move decks. Mercury can just shut those down. Surge gives you extra energy and extra ramp. Those are just useful things to have. That's what Surge, Hope, and Luna are doing. They give you all sorts of powerful combos at the end of the game. The easiest combo that you want is you want to be able to Mercury and Cannibal at the end of the game as a surprise. And those cards allow you to do that. Juggernaut is incredibly strong at winning a lane on the cheap, and is also really good to win that Iron Patriot lane, and is also really good as a surprise clog card. Iron Patriot gives you an extra powerful card. Again, this deck is trafficking in unpredictability, and Iron Patriot helps that a lot. Hope and Luna are your extra ramp cards. Shang is your backup control card to Cannibal. Galacta gives you enough power to win the games if you don't see the specific Mercury Cannibal things, because this is a low power deck. And of course, Legion has 1,000 different scams in him. Alright, so this one has a 55% win rate and is up to rank 19. Again, huge cube right there. Turn 1 is Kitty, usually over Bob. Turn 2, Surge over Mercury, equal Iron Patriot. If you've got ramp, you can just do Iron Patriot and play Mercury later. Turn 3, we want Galacta over Hope or Luna. If we play an Iron Patriot and the card is incredible, Juggernaut is fine. Turn 4, Galacta over cards on Hope. We want extra energy to start going off. Or we can do a Legion scam if we played Luna here, and now we have a really good Legion location. Turn 5, Legion or Juggernaut Clog, Cannibal kill. And then we're ending the game with either Cannibal or Shang-Chi kill, or we can end up with Juggernaut scam. This is yet another scammy control deck. The meta is quickly sort of conglomerating around all of these different varieties of control decks. This is another really cool one. And again, because this one's sort of off meta until people know it for the next couple days, until this video takes hold, you can really get a lot of extra cubes by playing this list. Props to our friend Elephant Fudge for it. Question of the day. So our question of the day, Thrillho asked about my move. So for those of you who missed this weekend's video, I did a big video about the problems I have with current Marvel Snap. I am moving to Vietnam in about 3 weeks. I'm going to be teaching there at an IB school and an IB program that I'm really excited to teach at. I basically get to build the program myself. It's this huge new thing, huge new challenge. My wife is very excited. My wife, who's a dual citizen of the United States and Colombia, is very excited to get out of the United States right now, given the current political climate. My son is happy to move, although he will miss his grandparents. So we're going to go as a family way too soon in about 3 weeks. So life has been incredibly, incredibly busy and stressful as I try and set up the move lately. This coming Saturday, we're going to do a big giveaway laden stream to try and fundraise for the trip. All I know is the top prize, top, if I hit my absolute goal in raising funds for the giveaway, I'm going to do a Snap Judgments tattoo. I've got no tattoos. That'll be my first tattoo. So that'll be how that goes. But yeah, I'm trying to get this move in order. I'm trying to find a place in Vietnam. The homie Min is helping. If anyone knows anyone in Vietnam that can help, I'm excited. It is in Hanoi that I'm going to. So if anyone knows, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to get all my paperwork in order. I'm trying to sell basically everything I own. So yeah, if you have any interest in any of that, please feel free to reach out on Discord or any advice, any ways to help, because this is an ordeal. Getting rid of our cars, one of which is a lease, it's been a thing. But yeah, my next 3 weeks are going to be extraordinarily busy. As far as how this affects you, Snap Judgments will continue. Streams will continue. The timing of those will change. In particular, the timing of the streams is very likely to change. But the timing of these videos, I'm intending to keep at the same time. They might go to like 9 a.m. Eastern instead of 8 a.m. Eastern, that kind of thing. But we should be able to keep them going around the same time of day coming out and hopefully continue to keep it going. So Snap Judgments is going nowhere. And I want to say thank you to all of my longtime supporters, because your support is part of how I'm able to make this move possible for my family and I. Alright, so a quick reminder about tomorrow morning's video before we go into our Patreon stuff. Tomorrow's video is tomorrow morning's at youtube.com/@comicbookclick. Sub, ring the bell so you don't miss that. There'll be a PAX code giveaway, and I'm going to go over Dormammu. Come back here for Sanctum Showdown decks and analysis later in the day. Patreon.com/snapjudgments is one way you can support us and further support the move if you are so inclined. Bricks to Click is our patron of the month. Thank you to Abigail Kieslet, Mandatory Burnout, It Regardless, LAB, Inc., I am Frostman, Frosty, Hota Navarrete, Brian Bryan, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood Snap, Ren Wrench, Kier Dixley, Koire, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyrofros, The Goat Seeker, Goatsy, Code, Breaking the Code, Hallowed, Only Fox, Synth, Fat Nick, Absolute Shannon, Nightmare, Dirty Casual, Mr. Kerfuffle, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philly, Philip Rakovich, who's going to come visit apparently, Haplo, Candy Loggins of the Danger Zone, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Hexers V and Skippy G are her rhyming friends, Jessica Campbell, Sup Jess, Mr. Slush Death, The King of Bros, Bro, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Steve-O131, KFC Hoda, Clam, Colonel Foreman, Rob Sub, and David G. Ewingfield, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B., Mista, Greg Sterry, Matt V., Corey, Gorwin, John Q, Jimmy Q, Q Down, Stout, 8th Sage, One Big Man, Milkman for Reals, Cactus Jack, Sup Cactus, thanks for stopping by stream, Reapster, Reaps are on. Yo, Marco, Quid, Pro, Joe. Snap Decisions, Joe. Dick Carlo, 220. Thanks for stopping by as well, my friend. Models, Mod, Supreme, Pickety, Boom, Bot, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan, 56. Oop, nope, he's gone. Spectrumix. Yeah, a lot of people are mad at Snap, so we got a few fewer patrons than usual. Spectrumix. Woot. Ocularis, Matt H, DJ, Mike Yadjing, Snow, Frickin' Flex, Nick, Duck, Greek, Geek, Toxic Soul King, Zotric74, King of Canada, JJ, Denman Falcon, Thor Newman, Jonesy Snapped, our friend Two Ties, the great Laura Debs, the Pirate King Tucker, and of course Gunny T. The T stands for I have 10,000 things to do, so let me go to sleep. Don't forget, Comic Book Click tomorrow morning, right here at Daily Reset. See you then. Peace.